Hello everyone, my name's Cole and welcome back to another Minecraft video. We are going to continue to work on our ship carrier that we're building. It's currently in my older 1.12 world, but we're going to be working on the hangar bay. And so I wanted to come into my primary world, my 1.13 world, and look at this Starship Carrier right here, just so I can kind of show you what I want to build into the new Starship. So if you haven't seen it, this is my large carrier ship I built. It was the third Starship that I actually built. I built the red one right there first, and then this white one, and then this one was the next build that I made. If you haven't seen it, I do have a video up on my channel. It's a bit of an older video, but I do have a video that where I take you through in detail all the rooms on this ship. So we are going to focus here just on the carrier section here today, and the primary thing that I want to incorporate is this force field right here. But I also want to pay attention to like how these sides look and how how this portion of the ship connects into the rest of the build, just to kind of get some ideas for how I want the new carrier to look. So we'll look at this force field here. We'll come in just right here. Let's break the glass. If you haven't seen it, this spawns in using command blocks. It'll spawn in air to make the force field go away, and then spawn back in the stained glass to bring the force field back. So I'll show you that. So that's it going away, and that's it coming back, and it's that animation that we want to incorporate into the new build. Now, they changed the whole way that command blocks work in 1.13, and unfortunately, when blocks spawn in, they don't update the block next to them. So this block right here is no longer connecting to this block right here, and in order to get that to come through, you actually have to do a block update. So I'm hoping that gets changed in the newer versions of Minecraft. 1.14 is just around the corner. I haven't actually logged in to test and see how this world will react to that yet. I'm waiting for a final release on that before I go ahead and do that. But if that doesn't change, then I'll need to update the command block structure to include spawning in these blocks as well, to get that update in so that it kind of smooths out. So I'll come back over here and I'll show you the command block structure that I have. So I've got two banks of command blocks here. This one spawns in the stained glass to generate the force field, and then this one spawns in air to remove the force field. So the problem with this right now is, with the exception of this side of the hangar, this entire starship is busted. Because right here in the command structure, what it's doing is it's spawning in. So this is just a fill command, and so what it's doing is it's spawning in the Minecraft stained clay. Now the old structure used to be Minecraft stained glass pane, and then the number value for which one equated to black or yellow or white or whatever color of glass. With the new structure, it's Minecraft light blue stained clay, so it's a completely different block, and it makes it so that none of the doors actually in the ship actually work anymore. So I'll go and show you that right now, just as an example. There used to be a door right here. It used to be that you press the button, it disappears, and then a few seconds later, it comes back down. To give an example of a door opening and then closing. So we can see just right here, it goes away, and it should be spawning in right now, but it's not. So unfortunately, all of the doors in this ship, will come up here, are busted. So all of these doors along here, these ones, the upper floor, none of them work. So in order to get them working again, I have to come in here, and all of these command blocks, and this is not even half of them, all have to be updated with the new command structure for the block values. So I'm hoping that WorldEdit will become compatible with 1.13 or 1.14. And if that's the case, I can just come in here, make the modifications to these blocks, and then copy and paste them throughout. Because the way that this works is this little T shape right here, this controls two of the doors for the rooms upstairs. So all I need to do is change these two blocks here, those two blocks there, then copy this, and then paste, and do that for all of the blocks in the ship. So for each individual grouping of these command blocks. So if I were to do this right now, it'd probably take me 3 hours to change all of the command blocks in this starship. Whereas if I wait for WorldEdit to come out, I could be done in about 15, maybe 20 minutes. So I'm hopeful for the future. I'm hoping it'll come out here soon. It's been, I believe, over a year since 1.13 came out, or close to a year. and yeah, it's been a long time. So I always keep my my worlds up to date with the newest version of Minecraft, but since they made this major change, a lot of the tools that I use, like MC Edit and World Edit, are no longer compatible. They're compatible with to a maximum of 1.12. So I'm hoping that some of the new tools coming out, like Amulet, will allow me to get back to building the way that I used to, at least with the newer blocks, because 1.13 added a lot of new blocks to the game, and I'd really like to be able to build with them in using World Edit. So anyway, that's all for that part. We're going to head back over into our World Edit world, and we're going to start working on the hangar. I'll show you what I have done so far, and we'll continue from there. So I'll catch you in just a second. Okay, so we're back in the World Edit world, and we're going to pick up where we left off last time. Now, I did have a chance to review the video that I put out last week, and I do want to apologize for that. I was really, really sick, and I wanted to get a video out for you guys, and I watched it over. Obviously, I watched it while I was editing it, but I have watched it over again with my kids since then, and I realized that it's about a 10-minute long video to watch me copy this starship 3 times over here. So not really the most compelling content, so I apologize for that. Hopefully we can make up for it here today. So I've gone through and I've made put in a couple different things. So the first thing I did is I put a roof on the building. This will be the maximum inside height of the hangar bay. I did it in glass. It will be body colored, whatever color we go with the hull. I'm doing it in gray right now, but I think we may end up changing that to a different color. But I did it in glass because if we didn't have a transparent block, it would be too dark to work inside of here. This right here, this little whole section right here, this is where the force field's going to be. I believe this is 16 blocks high. Yes, it is. So that is going to be the height of the force field, and then the width will be over there. I haven't fully decided yet on the width because we want to form the structure or form the outside of the hull. Now, one of the things that I want to do is incorporate this style of wing design into this part of the outside hull. So I want the outside hull of the starship to start right around here, and it'll go up, and there'll be like a little, but not, it'll be outside, like in space, like a non-pressurized part of the ship, but there will be like hull here and hull there. Now, the astute among you will probably look and see that, wait a minute, if you put the walls right in there, it's not going to be long enough for the wings to get out. It's going to, if the starship goes to get out, it's going to clip the wings off. I know. Unfortunately, I think that the starship is going to be just too big. If we build everything out to scale, I think it's just going to be too big. So we're going to kind of try to save some space on those areas right here. If we were to go like with proper clearance from like from down here, from this ground up to here, we would essentially have a force field, like the force would be about 20 blocks tall, but then we would need to add additional blocks on top to make the hull actually make sense. So yeah, I'm trying to save some space in a few different areas, just because it's like, if I want to move the ship around, copying and pasting with World Edit or MC Edit, it's going to take a little bit of extra time and can be more prone to error. So I want to reduce some of the space, or I'm going to reduce the build in some ways where I can, and it includes hiding, well, like shrinking some of the dimensions in areas where you won't necessarily notice. Though, now that I've pointed it out, it's going to be the thing you'll notice for, forever going forward. So the thing that I'm going to work on here right now is I wanted this wing structure right here. I'm going to try to build it into this area right here, and then I'm going to throw in a little bit of a taper, and yeah, I'm going to work on it for a bit. I'll come back, and I'll show you what we have. Alright, so this is what I have after about 2.5 hours worth of work. As you can see, I've added in that little wing section that I was talking about, as well as thrown in a little bit of a taper here as well. I think this is pretty close, this wing here at least, this is pretty close to the final design that I'm going to go with it. I haven't fully decided on it yet. I'll need to make some adjustments to this part of the ship. I think, like, when I compare the dimensions of this wing to this front part of the ship, this front part's not long enough. It probably needs to be elongated, probably 4 to 6 blocks, in order to make the dimensions in order to make them make sense. I also need to start working on the bottom of the ship, but I'm running out of space. So what I actually need to do is copy the whole ship, move it up about 10 blocks, and move it about 20 blocks back that way, because I'm running out of space here in front. But I won't fully know how this is going to work until I start working on that bottom taper. But most likely this does need to be pulled forward. Yeah, and so I also did a taper on this part right here. The original plan in my head was to make this entire front section right here at about the height of this glass right here. But then as I was thinking that I do want to have another section of the ship on top with crew quarters and other sort of rooms inside the ship. And if I had it at this height and then put rooms on top of that, it's gonna make the ship quite tall. So I decided to taper it down a fair bit here on the front. So we'll see how that goes. Again, you kind of just take it one step at a time. The hangar section is the most important part of the ship, and it's what I wanted to get right. So I just kind of that's what I'm focusing on right now, and then the rest will come later. This section right here, if you guys have ever seen Stargate Universe, the Destiny ship, inside their mess hall, they kind of have that open area with a force field around it. I kind of think I want to do something like that. I might do like a dome, like with what they had with the hydroponics bay, but I haven't decided yet. But I think I want to do something that's kind of open on just behind this wing section right here. It's not going to be a straight up and connector right here. We're going to have a similar taper to what we have here, but I might be able to put in one of those domes. So anyway, what we're going to do right now is we're going to copy this section here, because again, as you can see, we've built half the ship. So we're going to copy this section and we'll paste it in over on this side. So again, to do that, you left-click your start block, right-click your end block, and as you can see, it encompasses the whole area. And then the commands are just copy, which puts it in the clipboard, and then we're going to flip to the left, and then paste. And then we have to wait. It is a fair number of blocks. All right. So there you have it there. Make sure that everything goes in. Yeah, that looks pretty good. It'll look even better once we get the bottom portion of the ship on, because it does look, it's too flat, but that does look pretty good. All right, now one of the things, just for curiosity, I mentioned in the previous video that we are going to end up deleting these ships on the inside and re-putting them in later, because as we do the copy and paste things, it's going to mess up the inside of these ships significantly. So I actually want to see what that looks like. So let's come in here. All right. All right, so we got a bunkhouse there that immediately goes into the next bunkhouse. Okay. And then double kitchens. Nice, and I think right back here is where it stops. All right, that's pretty cool. All right, yeah, not a whole lot of point to that there. So let's get out of here. I was just curious what it looked like. I know. Let's see here. Let's get out. So one of the things that we need to consider as well before we go and start working on the bottom, and I'm not sure if I'm going to get to that bottom in this video or if this is going to be enough, because I'm not sure how long we're at today. But those commands in the other that I showed at the beginning of the video, they do need a certain level of height. So I need to think about where I'm going to put the levers and such, and then where I want them in relation to the doors and such that I'm going to build. So I'm going to pop over real quick back into the other world and do a quick bit of math, and I'll figure out how deep I want the bottom structure. So I'll catch up with you right back here in just a few minutes. All right, so I went over to the other world and I did my measurements, and we're going to need about 5 blocks of space underneath the main hangar bay. I was just going to come in and move the ship to its new position. I was going to do that off camera, but then I realized just after I'd finished selecting the area that if I cut it out and delete it and then go to paste it back in, if it doesn't go in, if I have a crash or whatever, then I'd kind of like for you guys to have that reaction, because I haven't made a data backup of it. You know, you only live once. So let's go ahead and do that now. So let's cut. And wait for the computer to decide if it's going to do anything. Oh, there she goes. Okay. And then we want to move in this direction. This should be good here. And then let's go up 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. And now we wait and see if she comes back. I mean, it should. My computer's not that bad, so. But it's always a little bit of a nerve-wracking experience when you have a large build like this, do a copy and paste. And I'm usually much more prudent about keeping data backups, but living on the edge tonight, so we'll see how it goes. And this type of work I prefer to do in MC Edit. MC Edit just seems to work a lot better for this. It's a lot quicker, a lot more efficient. All right, there we go. All right, so it came back, so that's great. All right, we'll get rid of this here. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, it actually, now that it's up in the air and I can see a little bit better, let me get down here. I think scale-wise it's actually going to be pretty good. So I think if we keep trying to cut out and cheat in certain dimensions, so like right back there with the wings, it's very hard to see that it's actually not that the opening is not quite big enough for the ship to get out. And when I actually go ahead and put in more detail, so different colors on the outside and other details on the inside, then you probably actually won't even be able to tell at all. So yeah, that's pretty good. So I think that's actually going to be it for today. I unfortunately have to run back into work and finish up a few things, so I had to head out to quickly edit the video and get it up, and then head on back into work. So if you like what you see, just let me know. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.